This is CES MMA.
Welcome back to Twin River Casino at Lincoln, Rhode Island. We're here live for Undisputed 2, live mixed martial arts, presented by Jimmy Birchfield's Classic Entertainment and Sports. And we have moved on to the welterweight division, 170 pounds for both combatants. Right now you're taking a look at DARIUS HEYLINGER, 23-year-old Cortland, New York native from the Bomb Squad. And Bomb Squad, of course, traveling deep tonight. They have several fighters on the card, HEYLINGER, one of them, and arguably the most accomplished of the Bomb Squad fighters on this undercard. HEYLINGER steps in at 4-1 with 2 knockouts. He fought in 2011 here at Twin River, and he won by unanimous decision over Pierre Pieri, also of New York. So he managed to get the unanimous decision victory in that fight. But for the most part, HEYLINGER, known as a tough striker, and you may very well see somebody hit the ground and hit the deck hard in this fight. His opponent coming into this bout has 3 wins, all by knockout. So this may be one of the premier striking bouts of the evening here in the welterweight division. But right now, you're taking a look at DARIUS HEYLINGER crawling and actually somersaulting into the cage. You see the tremendous height and the reach of HEYLINGER, and that may definitely play a factor against his shorter opponent. We'll see that when he makes his way to the cage. HEYLINGER did a nice job bouncing back from his first career loss with a knockout win in September over Josh Bellows. That was his most recent fight at the end of 2012, so he's had a little bit of time off as he steps back into the cage, making his 2013 debut here at Twin River in his second fight at Rhode Island. And I'm once again joined by my broadcast partner, Scott Ream, and I was just mentioning the striking ability between both combatants in this fight. You've got 5 combined knockouts out of 7 victories.
Yeah, so we're looking for a submission here. If you've seen WILFREDO, you see he had one of the most amazing knockouts. I fought in the same card as he did that night, and what a vicious knockout he had of Francisco that night. Just a 1-punch, straight right hand, and he dropped him cold.
That's right, WILFREDO Santiago, the Brown Bomber from Lawrence, Mass, 3-1 with 3 knockouts. And in that fight, that was actually his last fight, he knocked out Francisco Ferreira in just 27 seconds of the opening round. Big right hand, and that was all she wrote. Now, Santiago dropping down in weight from 185 to 170 to take on this bout.
He looks fit. It looks like it suits him very well.
It does, and perhaps maybe he finds a new weight class for himself and maybe finds himself more comfortable at 170.
Now, in WILFREDO's losses, he's tended to gas out. It hasn't been that he was beat, it's just he tended to gas and the other fighter took advantage of it. So let's see what type of conditioning he has tonight.
You would think with that weight cut, perhaps comes better conditioning.
Yeah, it should. That's what it should mean.
Well, let's take a look at the Pinnacle Vodka tail of the tape. DARIUS HEYLINGER, 4-1 with 2 knockouts out of Cortland, New York, the Bomb Squad Academy. And of course, WILFREDO Santiago, 3-1 with 3 knockouts, fighting out of the Face Your Fears Canal Street Gym. Let's send it down to Bill Carpenter for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Pinnacle Vodka bout. We're scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in the welterweight division. Your referee for this bout is Keith Peterson. Introducing to my left first, fighting out of the red corner. He weighed in at 170 pounds, representing Team Bomb Squad. His professional record stands at 4 wins, just 1 loss. Those 4 wins include 2 knockouts and 1 submission victory. Coming to us tonight from Cortland, New York, please welcome DARIUS HEYLINGER. His opponent across the cage to my right, fighting out of the blue corner. He tipped the scales at 171 pounds, representing Face Your Fears in the Canal Street Gym. His professional record, 3 wins, just 1 loss. All 3 wins coming by knockout victory. Fighting out of Lawrence, Massachusetts, introducing WILFREDO, the Brown Bomber, Santiago. 3 5-minute rounds, welterweights.
All right, we're just about ready for the opening round of this welterweight bout. DARIUS HEYLINGER, WILFREDO Santiago. HEYLINGER in the black and white trunks, and Santiago, I believe, in the camouflage trunks. You will notice the significant height and reach advantage for HEYLINGER.
Yeah, significant is the word.
That may be an understatement. But not all fighters, Scott, are able to use that to their advantage. We'll see how HEYLINGER does it. Nice kick to open up for HEYLINGER.
He's keeping his distance with that rear leg. Again with that rear leg, keeping him off. You can see he's loading up that right hand, Santiago. He wants to let that thing go, but HEYLINGER's doing a great job. There's the big overhand right.
Those are the distance finders, as you call them.
Yeah. There it is with the right hand, and now he's just brawling in there with big right hands. Picks him up, takes him down. Santiago laying it on him.
He got his opening when that kick stuck into his rib cage. He held on to the leg.
Yeah.
And he got that right hand in, the initial right hand. And now he's got HEYLINGER in a compromising position. Nice reverse.
Great reverse.
Santiago trying to pour it on. Hammer fist
to the back of the head. He has his left hand on his hip for good hip control, not allowing him to roll over. And still just laying the leather to him.
HEYLINGER gets to his feet, but it may be brief, and it is.
It was nice.
Another big takedown for Santiago.
He's on fire. He's coming out like somebody just, I don't know, gave him a little hot sauce in the locker room.
Oh, you wonder why he might gas out. He just comes out with reckless abandon.
There you go. Again, look at him just muscling him back down to the mat.
Not saving any energy for later rounds. He's trying to end it right now.
This is what I like to see.
Into this opening round. I agree, Scott.
A standing mount. Body shots by WILFREDO. Uppercuts. Really letting that big anvil of a right hand go here. Again, HEYLINGER's he's weathering the storm, but having a tough time doing anything about it.
He keeps getting to his feet, but Santiago keeps taking him down. At least for now, HEYLINGER can stand on his own too without getting slammed to the canvas.
WILFREDO trying to muscle him off that cage and pick him up, and it didn't work. You see HEYLINGER has an overhook on the far side, prevented him from bringing him up.
And back to the center of the cage.
Now HEYLINGER trying to establish the same distance this time with his hands.
And now he at least has an example of what happens if he does not do that.
Well, by using your feet to try to maintain the distance, you're open to be getting taken down, getting your foot caught off balance. If he can establish a long jab here, he'll have his feet underneath him and a better chance of keeping WILFREDO at bay. And you just saw WILFREDO take a couple of really deep breaths here.
Flying knee by HEYLINGER.
I think he asked him to watch his hands. That hand came close. You see WILFREDO, another big deep breath. Head kick that missed.
Again, Santiago just picking his spots.
Big right hand overhand with the left hook behind it. Santiago doing a great job of just finding his distance, not taking too much abuse on the way in.
HEYLINGER looked a little awkward backpedaling.
Right hand to the body, and yeah, I think you're right. He wasn't backing up clean. Now he switches. You see HEYLINGER switch to the southpaw stance. Inside leg kick behind it. Straight left hand.
You'd like to see more jabs from HEYLINGER if you're in his corner. If
I'm HEYLINGER and I'm going to go southpaw with an orthodox fighter, then the right thing to do is straight left hands and right hooks. And still, he's so tall, he could jab over WILFREDO's defenses here. That's just a height difference, whether he's a southpaw or orthodox at the moment. Nice straight left hand, setting it up off what you had mentioned, Mike, light touch jabs. WILFREDO misses with a big overhand right.
Yeah, more or less it's just been used to keep his distance, not really to inflict any damage.
Exactly.
That one got through.
Rear teep. Nice rear leg, a little high on the arm. I'd like to see that one a little lower, but the height difference again.
It's tough, yeah. Whatever he throws is going to land high on Santiago.
Now you see HEYLINGER going to the body off the jab.
1 minute to go in the opening round.
It's very difficult for a shorter fighter to get inside on the tall guys without it taking some kind of damage. WILFREDO's doing a very good job of getting grazed, nothing flush on his way in. Nice kicks from Darius. You see Darius relaxing now, kind of finding his rhythm.
And the good thing is never abandoning the kicks after the disaster earlier in the round.
But changing up how he throws them. Fantastic point, Mike. Instead of leading with them, he's throwing them at the end of his, letting his hands set them up. Great point. WILFREDO doing a good job of circling off the cage, knowing where he is at all times in proximity to the cage.
Well, that'll do it for round number 1.
That was a great round.
Great start for Wilfredo Santiago. The action slowed a bit in the middle of the round as Heylinger found his touch, I would say, when he got toward the middle of the canvas.
Yeah, I would agree.
And if anything, those kicks, Scott, by Heylinger, at the very least, caused Santiago to back up a bit instead of always coming forward. It kind of slowed the fight down, it slowed the pace a bit, and Santiago wasn't nearly as aggressive in the latter stage of the round.
I agree, but you see with Santiago right now in this corner, Wilfredo's, now he's starting to slow his breathing down. That's what I was waiting to see, if he had enough composure to take a nice long deep breath through his nose, exhale. Took him a couple of seconds, but he did recover well.
And those really are the little things that a lot of people overlook. You may not think it plays a factor, but stuff like that in between rounds really does.
It's huge.
It's big. It's absolutely big.
Think about your body as a car engine. How do you, if you get gas from oxygen, if you're not bringing in enough oxygen, you lose your gas.
No fuel.
You know? So you need to breathe in through your nose. Nice, slow, relaxed breath out. Slows the breathing down, slows your heart rate down.
Round number 2, Wilfredo Santiago, Darius Heylinger in the welterweight division. Plenty of action in the opening round. Two big strikers going at it. And of course, Heylinger again with the height and reach advantage.
I think that height and reach is allowing Heylinger to back up. Darius is backing up and trying to let Wilfredo come into his punches. Very smart in his part, rather than come forward and have Wilfredo come forward and close the distance.
He's definitely used it to his advantage. Just trying to establish a pace.
3 kicks in a row, 2 teeps and a rear leg. Outside leg kick off the lead, nice job. Again, as a lefty fighter, you fight for foot position. Who has the outside position of the foot? And in MMA, that's where that kick comes from. Just a quick snap of the hip, and you can put a little damage on him. Overhand right, a little low, but man, it still looks like it rocks you, doesn't it?
And if you're Heylinger, you don't want your back against that cage because you'll run out of real estate to back up as Santiago charges in.
Very true.
Almost got caught a couple of times in that last sequence. It's definitely in favor of Heylinger when he's in the center, circling the cage, rather than circling the outer part, where Santiago can cut him off.
I agree. When Santiago pushes the pace, he's trying to jam him into that cage, trying to have him so he has nowhere to run. And he's doing it in such a manner. These two guys are talking and taunting each other.
Look at this.
A little Nick Diaz by Darius here. You gotta give him points for a flair, but I don't know if I'd really want to wake up the kid with, with that right hand.
You don't want to poke the line with a stick. 3 minutes to go in round number 2.
Nice looping right hand.
Heylinger again saying, bring it on. We'll see if Santiago obliges again with the kicks. Heylinger just keeping his distance.
I'd really like to see Wilfredo stay inside the kicking range of Darius. So now, not to be at the end of those kicks, be inside the kicks and only have to worry about his hands. But when he's that far on the outside, this is all day for Darius. Straight left hand, right front of home.
And with how tall Heylinger is, those kicks will go over his head if Santiago gets inside.
Exactly. He won't even want to throw them because he'll be too jammed up. He might switch to knees, which is very possible, but most guys have, those kicks are range finders. I know if I land one kick, I'm half a step, a full step away from throwing my hands on the same spot. Nice head kick. Caught well, defended well by Santiago.
Yeah, that time Santiago caught it and he had a chance. He had a brief opening but couldn't take advantage.
Oh, that was nice. He rushed in there trying for the takedown, Darius did. He was looking to put a hand on the hip, hand on the shoulder, and really rush him over. Wilfredo did a nice job with footwork of sliding away from that. Now, Mike, look at these guys' defense. Both of them have their hands up. As flashy as Darius is trying to be here, nice left hook coming over the top. I'm talking about defense, and Darius' right hand's down by his hip.
Well, it's a risky run trying to get inside on Santiago.
It's true.
And he almost paid the price. 1.5 to go in the second round.
I'd like to see a few more feints by Santiago. A little more head movement might stop Darius in his tracks. But if Santiago's right arm was not exactly where it was, right on the chin, good defense, those kicks would be taking his neck clean off. This is really good basics and good defense. Nice check of that kick. We're almost 2 rounds in, and I'd have to say if this round ends the way it's been going, we have 1 round apiece.
I agree.
And I'm looking at Wilfredo, and he is not gassing. I think you were right. I think the weight cut helped him get in great shape, when he had to work a little bit harder to make this weight.
Final 30 seconds of round number 2. HEYLINGER has essentially controlled the pace in this round. Nothing too damaging, but he's controlling the fight.
Exactly. He's touching him enough. He's got control enough, and he's landing some shots.
And Santiago just wants to get inside, and he just can't do it.
Another big overhand, very well defended by Darius.
These kicks and these jabs are keeping him at bay. That's the one tough thing about fighting a taller fighter. If you fight on the outside, you have very little chance of winning.
It's 100% true. That's where the taller fighter wants you, is at the end of all his stuff.
And that'll do it for round number 2. And I agree with Scott Ream here. We very well may have an even fight going into the 3rd and final round. Now, if you are in Wilfredo Santiago's corner, having seen just what happened in round 2, how do you combat what HEYLINGER's doing?
If I'm looking, and I'm trying to add to Wilfredo here, everybody knows that he has a crazy overhand right. I'd throw the overhand right, try to land it, of course, but I'd follow it right up with a straight shot. In other words, throw the overhand right, step with it, bring my right foot with it, and shoot right through. It seems that Darius leans back for his defense. He's using his height as a defense, and so far it's working, but his balance is off, as you have stated, going backwards. So if he throws that overhand right, Wilfredo does, and steps with it and shoots right through, I think he'll get Darius backing up and be able to either take him down or pin him against the cage.
The latter definitely ringing true. I think pinning him against the cage is the absolute key. He can't let the fight stay in the center of the cage. He is at a complete loss if he does so. And that's exactly where HEYLINGER wants it.
Well, using a boxing analogy, Mike, you got a guy that's a brawler and you got a guy that's a boxer. The boxer wants the center, and the brawler wants to pin you up against those ropes and lay it to you.
All right, 3rd and final round of this welterweight battle. Wilfredo Santiago, Darius HEYLINGER. HEYLINGER in the black and white trunks, Santiago in the all black.
There's that overhand again.
HEYLINGER working more jabs as he come out into round number 3.
It makes sense, if he can do the same thing he did the past round, he can win this fight. And Wilfredo there, he did step through with it, but he didn't go for the takedown.
And he's just not close enough to land.
That's why I was saying to throw it and miss it, but come right through with the takedown. That landed on Darius' shoulder.
At some point as the round progresses, Santiago may have to take a gamble or two, Scott.
You would think both fighters have to feel the same way. A round apiece, 3rd round coming.
You may have to be willing to absorb a bit in order to dish out some of the punishment on your own end.
Right now, this type of fight is what Darius wants, keeping you at the end. Wilfredo might be smart to back up. Just to back up, stay way out of range. Make Darius try to chase him down and have him fall into something.
Perhaps he could draw him in.
Exactly.
Now, 3.5 to go in this 3rd and final round. And again, like we've reiterated several times, the fight is right where Darius HEYLINGER wants it. Now right here, he's a little bit close to the cage.
That's what you're waiting for. You're waiting to see, here comes the overhand. He lost his footing. I don't know if he was looking for a takedown. But watch again, when Wilfredo throws his overhand, with 3 minutes left, we're going to see it again. Darius doesn't back up with his feet. He leans back.
You're right.
And his feet stay stationary, which allows that takedown. Nice side kick there. Very quick legs. Good combination by Darius. Trying to dig that up because he's got a lot of rhythm now. He's boxing very well. You see him bobbing his head. He's got a lot of confidence coming with every step he takes.
Well, Santiago's going to need something here to change the game.
That was a big toe across the tip of your nose.
Whether it's catching a kick, as he did in the opening round, or just making an all-out attempt to try to go for that takedown. Easier said than done, obviously, against somebody with HEYLINGER's height and experience.
Well, he's got great talent. You see him sitting on the outside just peppering away. He was really manhandled the first round. He was beat up. He weathered that storm. That was a brutal assault in the first. And you see him, he's dancing right now. He feels comfortable. And you need to do something to change this. You know, if I'm Wilfredo Santiago, I want to change the swagger that you're seeing come out of Darius right now. And I'm only going to do that with either putting some leather on him or taking him down. Double jab, left hook with the lead hand. Beautiful job. It was a double jab, right hook with the right hand. Came back, cleaned it up with the straight left. That was a beautiful combination.
You can tell Heylinger's really feeling it here too, Scott. Real comfortable,
sure is.
Confident, letting the hands go a little bit more. Perhaps trying to put the final exclamation point on this fight.
Now, if Heylinger, if he's feeling this comfortable, he should be throwing his hands exactly like he is. Instead of finishing with the kick, finish with the knee. He's coming in into perfect range to let a knee go to the body.
You're right. At some point, Santiago's going to have to charge in, and that's when you can catch him.
Guys that are this much taller than their opponents can use those knees just to back the other guy off.
Right back into the center of the cage. 1 minute to go. Heylinger has found his distance. He's found the pace he likes.
We're boxing. For all intents and purposes, we're boxing right now.
Exactly. It's been incredibly comfortable these last 9 minutes, really, if you go back to the beginning of the second round.
Yep. Nice head kick, but very well defended. Again, Heylinger went to push him into that cage. Combinations, good combinations from Darius. They're not really landing. Wilfredo's got pretty good defense, but it really looks like Darius is carrying the fight. Now he's landing. Now he's finding a home for those punches.
I agree. Not much damage inflicted, Scott, but just a continual all-out assault where he has dictated the pace of the fight for the last 2 rounds.
I would agree 100%.
And if you're Wilfredo Santiago, it's incredibly frustrating to be on the other end of it.
Especially when you see the guy on the other side of it with all that swagger.
Well, that'll do it. 3 rounds in the books in the welterweight division. Darius Heylinger, Wilfredo Santiago. This one's going to go to the scorecards. And for all intents and purposes, it appears Heylinger
I'd have to agree 2-1. I think I'd definitely say the same thing.
Another win here at Twin River Casino for Darius Heylinger. We'll see what the scorecards say. But it was a dynamic fight really early on. Santiago charged in. He caught an early leg kick from Heylinger, got the takedown, and got 2 more subsequent takedowns in the opening round and really started to use the ground and pound. But once Heylinger got back to his feet and found his distance, that really changed the course of the fight. Heylinger stayed on the outside the entire night, really just controlling the pace of the fight from the center of the cage. And Santiago did not do enough to charge forward and try to press Heylinger into the cage or try to cut off that boxing ability. At the end of the day, it appears by our scorecards up here in the booth that it is a 2-1 victory for Darius Heylinger, but we'll see what is on the final scorecards in just a moment. In any event, it would be another impressive victory for Heylinger here at Twin River, both by decision if he's able to pull this one out. He came here in April of 2011 and won by decision as well. So the out-of-towner finding a nice home here at Twin River, at least on the fighter scorecards. And again, just the tremendous boxing and the reach and height advantage by Darius Heylinger really played a factor in the overall outcome of the bout. Once Heylinger found his pace with the jab and the leg kicks, Santiago found it impossible to get inside and try to stem the tide, and just was unable to do enough to win in the end. If all does hold up as we think it will, Heylinger will improve to 5-1. Santiago would drop to 3-2 in his first fight since September of 2011. You wonder if the long layoff had a factor, if there was any cage rust on Santiago's part. We're really not sure. He did drop down from 185 to 170. Didn't look uncomfortable by any stretch. I doubt the weight cut really had anything to do with that. I think more or less he was uncomfortable because of the significant height advantage of his opponent, if anything. Let's send it down to Bill Carpenter for the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 15 minutes of action in the cage, we'll go to the official scorecards. Referees Ginsburg, Avery, and Cordero all score the bout identically, 29-28, for your winner by unanimous decision, Darius Heylinger.